Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
So today we are going to be discussing Jay-Z's comment about Beyonce not winning Album of the Year, and my thoughts on it, because you're not going to hear it anywhere else, because I'm not paid by anybody, and I'm going to say the truth. Right? I'm not, I'm not a person who's going to go with groupthink or, I'm scared of getting dragged. No. I'm going to give it to you guys raw. I'm going to give it to you guys straight, and we're just going to have at it, right? But the first thing I wanted to get into is, what in the heck did Beyonce have won last night? Why is she channeling Madonna with this Storm from X-Men wig? And this whole, everybody's like, she's paying homage to Texas with this Texas Ranger look. I'm like, no, she is paying homage to Madonna when Madonna had that era when the music album came out and all that whole aesthetic was all like country western. That is exactly what Beyonce was giving. Sometimes I feel like Beyonce does this on purpose. When she doesn't really want to be at the award show, she comes up with these like outrageous outfits, so that way you're so fixated on all the foolishness going on in the actual outfit itself that you are not paying attention to her face and how sad and miserable she looks, you guys, because she doesn't want to be there. She does not want to be there at all. And, once again, both Tina and Beyonce would say, nobody's bothered about anything. Nobody cares about this. But the moment you're snubbed, we get these think pieces. We get these speeches from Jay-Z and everything else. So now we are going to get into that. So let's get into some of the things that Jay-Z said. You know what's funny? Jay-Z has said the same things that Kanye has been saying over the years about how the artists don't care about any of the Grammys unless it's Best New Artist, Album of the Year, and either Song or Record of the Year, whatever. Basically the main ones, right? The top four mainstream ones. And it's funny because now that Jay-Z says it, now the comments are, Jay-Z's standing on business, he's defending his wife. But is he defending his wife, or is he humiliating his wife? We're going to get into it because I still do not recall in the acceptance speech of actually thanking your wife and your family. But that's neither here nor there, right? We're going to get into the Album of the Year nominations that Beyonce has had over the course of her career, and why I believe that they didn't get it wrong and not giving it to her. Yes, I said it. So we're going to get into that as well because I want to draw your attention to something. And any of you guys can do this on any of your streaming sites, platforms, what have you. I use Apple Music myself. So I am going to show you right now what the top 10 songs are being streamed right now as it pertains to Beyonce. So on my Apple Music, these are the top 10 songs that are streamed by Beyonce, by fans in regards to Beyonce. Number 1, Crazy in Love, which is on Beyonce's first album. Number 2, Irreplaceable, which is on Beyonce's second album, B-Day. And the Savage remix, which technically was already a hit, but went number 1 basically when Beyonce got on the remix. So that's a feature. Next is Halo. That was on the I Am Sasha Fierce album. Love on Top, of course, was on 4. Then we had Cuff It, and people don't realize a lot of Cuff It's success was because of the TikTok challenge, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? Next we have Dance For You, that was also on 4. Best Thing I Never Had, that was also on 4. We have the Perfect Duet, again, another feature with, originally that was also a hit too, the Ed Sheeran song, but Beyonce got on that to get, another number 1. And then, of course, Break My Soul, you guys. So I bring this up for a reason, because this notion that Beyonce is being snubbed has a lot of you guys fooled. You guys have fallen for the PR tricks. Real talk, Beyonce's best work are her first 2 solo albums. And other than that, her best work is with Destiny's Child. I'm going to say it. I am going to say it. The albums that actually would technically be worthy of quote-unquote album of the year were the ones that were not nominated on Beyonce's solo records, which are her first album, her first solo album, Dangerously in Love, and the second album, B-Day. Because those, really for me, the first album, the first solo album, is really the only one for me that's zero skips. B-Day, I can take or leave some of the songs. I can't listen to it all the way through. But nonetheless, those would be the only two I would argue are worth consideration for a quote-unquote album of the year. But my issue with this is that a couple of things, right? Beyonce and Jay-Z each have the most nominations for Grammys ever, with 88 nominations apiece, right? And I believe total between the two of them, they have 56 Grammys between the both of them, with Beyonce, of course, having the most with 32 Grammys. However, it seems that it is insignificant because none of those Grammys are including for Album of the Year, which is one of the quote-unquote Big Four mainstream awards. And so we have Jay-Z, once again, the same Jay-Z that went 0 for 8 on his own album and called out the Grammys on the song 8 Bleep, saying F the Grammys and that 0 for 8 bleep. You would think he would have boycotted, after that, but no, you and Beyonce still show up to these awards. And Kanye spilled that you are only going to see Beyonce and Jay-Z at these award shows if they know in advance they're guaranteed an award or recognition of some sort. But they never have the same energy for these black award shows anymore. And I know some of you in the comments are going to be, well, that's because Karaoke said, X amount of years ago, that Blue Ivy joke and blah, blah, blah. And, they had apologized and that's why they're done with BET. No. They also don't go to the Soul Train Awards. They also don't go to the NAACP Image Awards. They don't go to any of the black award shows, you guys. And still, BET and Soul Train and, the NAACP, they still will give them awards anyways. Even though there's other people who are just as talented in those other categories as them, or potentially even release better music than them, that attend in hopes that they're going to win this award, and it goes to Beyonce or it goes to Jay-Z, right? So that's one thing. And then I thought it was very insulting and insensitive to say some of the people didn't even deserve to be nominated. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Like that's what we're doing right now? Saying some of these people didn't deserve to be nominated? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about your fellow black singers and songwriters and entertainers? Or are you talking across the board for the mainstream awards? Are you throwing shade at Taylor Swift and Adele? Who exactly were you talking about there? Right? And so then also this notion that you will boycott the Grammys if it fits a certain agenda, if it fits a certain rationale, but then still show up afterwards. If you truly want to make a stand, how about you no longer submit anything to the Grammys for consideration? How about you don't show up to the Grammys at all? You stop going like The Weeknd has, like Drake has. That's taking a stand, you guys. Because here's the thing. If you're going to complain about the Grammys and complain, oh, my wife has still not won Album of the Year, and you still show up every year, and you still show up to receive an award, and you still show up to present an award, you are playing right into the Grammys' hands. You are playing right into the Recording Academy's hands, because they're basically saying, hey, they don't care if we never award Beyonce for Album of the Year, because guess what? They're still going to show up no matter what. And see, that's the part you guys miss, right? That's the part you miss. You can be upset about not winning Album of the Year all you want, but where's your stand? Where's your stand in actually standing on business? Because standing on business is not even submitting any songs for consideration. Is not even showing up to the Grammys at all, whether you're nominated or not. Because you are sick of losing to Adele and Taylor Swift and whoever else randomly wins that Album of the Year award. But also, do not insult the black artists who have won Album of the Year. I believe Stevie Wonder has won it 3 times. Michael Jackson has won it. Whitney Houston has won Album of the Year. Lauryn Hill has won Album of the Year. Outkast has won Album of the Year. All of the black artists who have won Album of the Year is legitimate. Those albums were masterpieces. I ask you this, and I want to bring this up for a reason. What is Beyonce's signature album? And by signature album, I mean, what is Beyonce's Thriller? What is Beyonce's Confessions album? What is Beyonce's Emancipation of Mimi? Mariah Carey, also another artist who has never won Album of the Year. Where is that album for Beyonce? Where you have a diamond album that all the songs on the record are 0 skips, is critically acclaimed, everybody loves it, and it is nowhere to be found winning Album of the Year. Because here's the thing, if we really want to break down the 4 albums that were nominated for Album of the Year, 2 of those, in Lemonade and Self-Titled, Beyonce decided, you know what, hey, I'm going to do, music videos for each and every song, right? And hey, I'm gonna experiment with a few different genres. And Lemonade, I'm gonna submit for a rock song and for a country song, and I'm gonna go on the CMAs and perform, on the Country Music Awards. And I'm gonna submit for all of these other genres so I can rack up these Grammy Awards. But ultimately, still not win Album of the Year. And the reason why is this, you guys. Beyonce is doing what Will Smith used to do as it pertained to Oscars, doing Oscar bait movies. And what do I mean by that? Will Smith is known as an action superstar, an A-lister action movie box office draw, whether it is, the typical 4th of July release of Bad Boys, Christmas release of something big, or Independence Day, some type of big action movie, right? Or Men in Black or whatever. But then there was a point in Will Smith's career where he was like, you know what? I need to start doing Oscar bait films. What are Oscar bait films, right? And so those are going to be films that are going to not be your typical genre that you normally do. So we had, of course, when Will did Ali, did a biopic. So a lot of times for biopics, which happened with him, you get nominated for an Oscar, right? And, and then there were other movies that he did, like Concussion and 7 Pounds and all of these other, films that were serious films that he was hoping that this was going to be the year that he got the Oscar. And remember, that's when his wife, Jada, made the big deal because she was pissed that he wasn't nominated for one of the Oscar bait movies he did, right? And so they decided that year we were going to, quote-unquote, boycott, right? But again, ironically, Will Smith ends up winning the Oscar for technically another biopic. Technically for, the Williams family's love letter to their father. It is, quote-unquote, the movie that he actually won the Oscar for. I say this for a reason, you guys. Beyonce's most commercial albums, the most quote-unquote mainstream albums that these voters are really looking for to keep it a buck with you, are B-Day and Beyonce's first album, Dangerously in Love, and even to an extent, I Am Sasha Fierce, which I believe Beyonce won, Record or Song of the Year at that Grammys? Because that song was everywhere. That song was number 1. Everybody was recreating and spoofing the music video. When is the last Beyonce song that has had that type of an impact, you guys? I think some of you guys, we have to take off the stan glasses and the stan culture and really evaluate, was this album really worthy of Album of the Year? Or do you just want Beyonce to have an Album of the Year Grammy just for bragging rights? And to compare Beyonce's work to other artists, comparing it to, some of the white artists that win these awards, it's not fair, you guys. It's not going to be on the same type of level. Because we know there's different reasons why others, quote unquote, get awards that black people do not, right? So you can't even qualify that same type of criteria as it pertains to, oh, why didn't Beyonce win and so keeps winning? No. No. We have to keep it a buck. You have to take off the lenses. You have to take off the smoke and mirrors of all of the PR stories that make you think that all these albums are doing a lot better than what they are. They still have not outsold Beyonce's first two albums. B-Day and Dangerously in Love, and Sasha Fierce is really the next closest one that's the most successful of all her solo work. And then after that, really, to me, still, I feel her Destiny's Child work is still her best stuff, if we're keeping it a buck. But what Beyonce was doing, the reason why I brought up that Will Smith comparison, is Beyonce decided, starting with Self-Titled, that she was going to start following the trends that people were doing in music. So, of course, with Drunk in Love, and of course, that was technically Future's song that he still has zero credit for. But nonetheless, doing that rap singing. Beyonce started to get on the different types of trends that were taking place in hip-hop, where it was no longer singing, it was like this singing, rapping, this mumble stuff, and it really wasn't music to me. And Beyonce has the talent and the voice to not go that route. But she decided she was going to go these different routes, do all of these experimental sounds on these albums, in particular, like I said, on Self-Titled, on Lemonade, and on Renaissance, which she coined basically the album for a specific community. That was going to be mostly dance and up-tempo types of records. But here's the thing. When you are telling the people that you specifically are going for a certain type of niche, you are also alienating a whole wide range of people, right? So there is a lot of people. That's why Renaissance is one of the worst selling albums Beyonce has. You don't know that either, right? That it's no longer on the Billboard 200 for a reason. But the smoke and mirrors, and because of the success of the tour, you guys think that, oh my gosh, Renaissance is so, transcending and critically acclaimed. No. Here's the thing. If there was a Tour of the Year award or a Tour Lifetime Achievement Award, I would be on point with you guys saying Beyonce is being snubbed. Because of this generation, even though I still feel Janet Jackson and some other artists have better production and better tours, I will say that Beyonce does put in the work in terms of trying to put together, a big lavish tour with pyrotechnics, with huge production, with all of these things, all of these visuals that are happening at once. But I'm iffy on the set list, right? But you don't care about that because you are just happy that you spent thousands of dollars to attend a Beyonce concert finally, right? But if it was an actual Lifetime Achievement Award for her tours or her creative process for these tours and all of these things that she does, I would say yes, Beyonce is being snubbed. But if we actually listen to the 4 albums from start to finish that actually were nominated from Album of the Year, I don't feel Beyonce was snubbed. Like I said, I feel like the 2 solo albums that you can make the argument Beyonce, when she wasn't nominated for them, but should have had that opportunity to be nominated for them for Album of the Year, were her first 2 solo records. But again, where is Beyonce's Thriller album? Where is Beyonce's Confessions album? Where is Beyonce's Emancipation of Mimi album? Because even though I prefer Beyonce's first 2 solo records, and technically I, feel the first album really is the only solo one in my opinion, that I can listen to all the way through, no skips. But do I feel that that's like her big album, that's what she's going to be known for? No. Every time you see a Lifetime Achievement honoree, as it pertains to Beyonce, what do they always reference? They always reference Crazy in Love, and they always reference, Crazy in Love and Single Ladies is what they reference, right? Which is Beyonce's first album and the I Am Sasha Fierce album. And then they reference Lemonade as quote unquote being critically acclaimed because she did, that whole documentary on HBO. You weren't sure whether or not she was staying married to Jay-Z or not, and all of these things. And people talk about it as a whole, but notice people never talk about, okay, this individual song really spoke to me. This individual song, I loved it from start to finish. People picked apart this album, because there was some inappropriate stuff in there, talking about plugging your menses into Bibles and all those things. That's not going to attract Grammy voters to vote Album of the Year for that. That's crazy. Have you guys actually listened to some of these lyrics? And some of the thing, and the way some of the stuff is, and I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, you're being too critical on Beyonce, but I'm trying to make a point here that the music is not as good as you guys think it is. That, yes, you can be sucked into these big stadium tours. I went to almost every single Beyonce tour, I think with the exception of like two or three. All the other tours of hers I've been on. So I am fully aware of what Beyonce does on a lot of these tours, and up until recently, it was pretty much the same set list with a variation of a couple of changes. But Beyonce's really biggest tour, the biggest thing that she did was Beachella, in my opinion. That's better than any stadium tour she's ever done, because it was a culmination of her body of work. And really her best music and her best dance numbers and the best production and everything else, and including an HBCU, former grads and bands and everything else to culminate, that whole experience. But outside of that, you guys, Beyonce doesn't have that signature album. So I can't say here that Beyonce is snubbed for Album of the Year when, in my opinion, she doesn't have a signature album to me. They are, they'll make the headlines, and there'll be, people will, write all these think pieces about it, like, oh, this is so, innovative what Beyonce did, and there's a visual for every song, or, this is an ode to the LGBTQIA community, so blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. A lot of people didn't like those albums. People, thought it was weird and didn't know how to react when SNL did that skit when Beyonce released Formation. You remember that? When Beyonce released Formation and it had like all the white people in the office and wherever, and they're like, Beyonce is black? Beyonce is what? Like she's not, she's not our pop artist anymore? She's not our mainstream artist anymore? That should have told you right then and there where this was going, and the fact that Beyonce was never going to win Album of the Year. That should have told you right then and there that it was never going to happen. But I say Beyonce started putting out, Grammy Album of the Year bait albums in hopes that the Grammys were going to reward her. Instead of doing what Beyonce used to do best, which was putting out a good, cohesive album to where you listen to everything all the way through. Dangerously in Love is incredible. You've got, Crazy in Love, you got Me, Myself, and I, you got Signs, you got The Closer I Get to You, the duet with Luther, you've got Missy on there, Signs, you got Big Boy on there. Like, it's all the way through. Rather Be With You, Speechless. Every single song is a hit. Every single song is on point. I can't say that for Beyonce's recent albums. Most of Beyonce's recent albums I skip. Because either there is something in the lyrics that is too disturbing for me to ever hear again, or the beat is off, or the singing, rapping nonsense that she's been doing that isn't her. And Jay-Z writing raps for her to be a rapper? No. So again, you're not going to hear this anywhere else because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I'm Beehive and Beyonce deserves Album of the Year. But does she? Or are you blinded by the smoke and mirrors? Because again, I ask you, what is Beyonce's signature album? And by signature album, I don't mean, because Lemonade and Self-Titled, there's visuals for every song. So that means that should get album of the year. No. I am talking about, name me the Beyonce album that you can listen to all the way through on repeat, that is showing up on your streaming platforms as albums that fans are consistently streaming or purchasing on a regular basis, that are not her first 2 albums, that are not Destiny's Child. And you have your answer why she has not won album of the year. But Jay-Z trying to gaslight the people and only to continue to show up to the Grammys, only to continue to submit to the Grammys, and hopes you still win, that coveted album of the year. And remember, even Beyonce was trying to win, and EGOT was trying to submit stuff for the Emmys to try to win an Emmy award. And remember, she tried to submit stuff multiple times in hopes she won an Oscar. And then the one year she couldn't get nominated for the Oscar because there was too many songwriters on the actual, ballot, so therefore she couldn't even do that. It's all been about bragging rights when it comes to Jay-Z and Beyonce, which is why a lot of people are over the Carters. This entitlement, this, need to, make everybody feel like something is missing, that although you're the most nominated and the most awarded artist, it's not good enough. Meanwhile, there are black artists who can barely even get their songs on the radio, who can barely even get promotion, who can put out good quality of work, but if they're nominated in the same category as Beyonce, you might as well forget it. So again, you guys, a lot of this, you have to take off your stand glasses and look at this objectively. What Beyonce album can you listen to all the way through? 0 skips. What is Beyonce's signature album? What is Beyonce's Thriller? What is Beyonce's Control album or Rhythm Nation album? What is Beyonce's Confessions album? What is Beyonce's Emancipation of Mimi album, where it is all the stuff you can listen to, 0 skips, and the album has gone diamond? Usher is the last black artist to have a diamond album, and he does not even have an Album of the Year award. Make it make sense, you guys. That is what I'm talking about when there's smoke and mirrors, when you get sucked in to who has the number 1 album when they debut. But you guys never pay attention to the charts after that. And you never question it. Why? Taylor Swift and Adele and certain artists and even Rihanna, their albums continue to stay in the Billboard 200 years after the albums have been released. But then you look for Beyonce's albums and they're nowhere to be found. And they barely last a year on the Billboard 200 charts. Because you guys aren't listening to them. You guys like a couple of songs that you got hyped up about, or you're hyped up from the tour. But overall, all you stream is Beyonce's old music and Destiny's Child music. So therefore, where is this entitlement that she was snubbed for Album of the Year when there is no signature album? When there is no album you can listen to all the way through with 0 skips? What is Beyonce's masterpiece? Please let me know in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.